Again, thank you all so much for being here. And Director, you are recognized. If you could introduce yourself and who you have with you.
I sure will. Thank you very much for having us here tonight. Diana Alarcon, I'm the Director of the Department of Transportation Multimodal Infrastructure. And to make it easier on everyone, we call ourselves NDOT. To my right is Brad Freese. He's our Deputy Director. And to my left is our Assistant Director over Finance and Administration, Kristen Kimrow. And over at the table, just to help us if any important questions come up, I have Philip Jones, who's Assistant Director over Operations. I have Hal Harthrope, who is actually Assistant Director over Engineering. Over there is Charles Brody, who is actually our HR Director. And then over there, raise your hand, that's Courtney Stone. She's actually our Director over Strategic Communications. And then our new addition is actually Derek Haggerty. He's our new Assistant Director who is going to be moving forward Chimes. So you have the whole senior team here with you today. So thank you very much. All right, so oops, I hit the button too fast. Okay, Brad's gonna lead so I don't mess up. So last year we brought to y'all real quickly, we were working on our 5-year strategic plan. We actually did get that done. I'm gonna share some of the key performance indicators with you, but I just wanna refresh. We did update our mission. We did update our vision as well as also our values in the department. So this is just real quickly. And this is NDOT on the move. So part of our 5-year strategic plan included 3 goals, which goal number 1 was to safe neighborhoods. And that included, actually our Vision Zero initiative and implementing the plan, creating a balanced, sustainable transportation system, which we're super excited about because with the referendum passing, this is really going to allow us to expedite it a lot quicker. So we're super happy and excited about that. And also deploy our curb management program in our downtown core. And I'll talk more about that. Our goal number 2 is to be customer focused, and that is communicate our projects and our programs and responsibilities throughout Davidson County for our residents and our businesses, increase responsiveness to our NDOT services that we provide, and also the quality of service that we provide to our residents and businesses in Davidson County, and provide that reliable transportation network throughout the county. And then goal number 3 is people and culture. We really want to be the department that people come to and never want to leave. So we're really focusing on employee engagement, that experience that they get that will make them stay, and also all of the initiatives we need to take for employee retention. So with that, I wanted to kind of share out some of our key performance indicators that we have in our strategic plan. I could have brought all of them, but I would have taken up all of my time going over that because we have close to about 50 performance indicators. But as you can see, part of it is beautification. We want to continue to improve our beautification initiative, and we were very fortunate that we had an increase in last year in doing that. Also, the number of complaints and litter that we get is actually decreasing, so we're super excited about that. And I feel like that's because, thank y'all for the dollars last year in our budget, we were able to add staff, so we're out there being more proactive, and I really feel like that has been kind of reflects in our numbers as well. Increase the percentage of potholes that we are actually hitting in 24 hours. And we're focusing on this as doing a 3% increase over annually. And actually last year, the team really hit it out of the box. And I think the numbers are actually going to be exceeding it again this year. And we even filled some of TDOT, so we get to count those numbers too. The next slide is going to show an increase in our overall work orders. Now, if you remember, a couple years back, we actually got on the CAL system, and that is actually connected with the hub. So that's why we ask everyone put it in the hub. Please be our eyes and ears out there. It comes in as a work order. It creates that work order. And so we're really striving to complete those work orders in 30 days or less. And we're working on that 5% annually. And as you can see, we actually started that program in 2022. We actually did a great job in 23. Great job in 24, and our numbers are even coming down in 25. So I'm looking forward to sharing that again with you next year. Our traffic signals, reduce the delay in traffic signals. Well, that is a red, but we are super excited because Chime's going to allow us to actually get the fiber in the ground and start actually putting up our adaptive signalization so that we can work on doing a better job of moving folks down a street at the speed limit where they'll hit more greens and they'll move safer. So we're super excited about this, and that opportunities coming through the referendum. So we're looking that in the future, we'll actually be able to show improvements on this. Please don't expect it next year because it takes a while to do all of this. But I would say maybe in yeah, I know, Councilmember Allen saying, come on, Diana. Maybe in the next 2 years, you're going to start seeing those improvements really impacting how we're moving throughout all of Davidson County. And then bikeways, we actually are working annually to increase our bikeways by 5%. And we were very successful in 2024. And a lot of that is we did a lot of design in 23 and the construction fell in 24. We're super happy. And we are anticipating to be able to hit that also in 25. So I'm super excited about that as well. I know no one thinks we are building bikeways, but we are. And so that means we're building them in the right place, in the right way. So of course, the most important KPI that we have is to reduce the number of fatalities and serious injuries we have in our city, in our county. And as you can see, we've actually been very successful with bringing that down, and we're going to continue to work on that. We want to get to 0 fatalities and serious injuries that occur on our street network. And this is a culture change. This is something that takes a long time to do. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in 5 years. I actually would talk to one of my counterparts up in New York, and they've actually been on a Vision Zero program. They're on their 4th 5-year program, and this past quarter was the first time they had 0. So they're celebrating quarters now where they're having 0 fatalities, and this is the first time. So it is a culture change. It's a paradigm shift, and the referendum will be a big help with that because we'll be able to add safety into everything that we're doing. So again, it's allowing us to expedite everything that we have been talking with y'all about over the past 3 to 4 years. So some highlights I just want to share with y'all real quick is, you know, we opened up our first traffic center. If you haven't had a chance to come and see it, we would love to take you for a tour. It's super exciting, and this is what we will actually be using to be able to run the signals better. So it's super, and also it'll help us better with special events. We're actually already working very close with our partners over at PD on actually using the traffic management center to change signals to get people moving. And so PD doesn't have to be there. So we've actually had some really good success stories with that, and we look forward to continue to build that relationship. The LED conversion, just want to share this out. This is our partnership with NES. They're converting all our street lights over into LED. And I just want to give you an example. You know, this is over on Dickerson, which was one of our high injury networks. Actually, it was our leading high injury network at the time. Is not anymore. They changed this out. So year over year comparison, we dropped to 0 fatalities on that road after we switched the lights out. So we're really looking forward to getting the entire county done and then going back and doing the assessment of where we need to add, including pedestrian walkways and stuff like that as we build out sidewalks. And then, as you know, last year, y'all gave us in our budget supplemental dollars to put up school zones. And so we had committed to 15 schools. And so instead, at the time, we couldn't get a contractor out there to do it. So the team did it. So Philip put together a team, and they went out and they actually painted the year before that. So this has all been building up over the years. The year before that, y'all gave us dollars to create a marketing team, a team that went out and did markings on the street. So the marking team went out and actually did the school zones, put up the signs, added the new flashing lights, working with our traffic signal folks. We did 15. Well, we had money left over because we didn't use the contractor. So we figured we could do more. So we added onto the list to do another 25. So the team's already done 12. So we got a few more we're going to do, and we're planning on having that done by the end of this summer. So we are looking, so in the budget, there is a few extra dollars so we can continue this because our goal is to have all the school zones for elementary, middle, and high school done within 5 years. So that is a goal that we've set, and we've also made that commitment to the school board. So we're committed. And just real quick, I wanted to give you some notes, some high numbers to look at of how we've been performing. These are from July of 2024 through May 1st of where we're at, and also including our vacancies. You know, when we went into starting the new year, we had 86 vacancies, and now we're down to 35. So we've had some really good success with getting really great folks on. I think a lot of that has to do with that goal 3 of really looking at what we need to do to get people interested and talk about the great things that we're doing and how to be a great public servant for our community. So we're super excited about that. We've hired 129 folks. We've seen an increase in last year's parking revenue where it went from, I'm not sure if y'all remember, but when I first got here, it was like 800,000. And then the next year we started installing the machines and it was like 1 point something. And then last year we came in at 3.68. This year we're going to be hitting above 5 million. And all of these dollars, when we take out the expenses, the net income actually goes back into infrastructure. So we're getting ready to actually add protected bike lanes over on Jefferson's Bridge. And that's being paid for through the net funds left over through the parking revenue that we collected. So it does provide a great benefit in us getting infrastructure done that would otherwise still be on the list. And so we're super excited about that. So we're looking to continue to build that. Our lane miles that we have resurfaced is 184. Linear feet of bikeways is 400,000. Linear feet of sidewalk is 23,000. We've issued over 29,000 right-of-way permits. Everyone thinks we're slowing down. We're not. We're not slowing down. And then community cleanups, which is pretty exciting. You know, I shared that with you. We're already at 214. So we are just doing super great. The team is just excellent. So let's talk about our budget this year. I have quite a few things to share, and Kristen's my expert here, so if you have any budget questions, I am going to defer them to her because she has put together a great budget for us. But we are actually increasing our overall budget this year, and the reason why we're doing that is we actually went out and did a fee study. And when we did that fee study, we found that the last time we did a fee study, did a study and actually increased our fees was in 2003. And so the fee study came back, and many of the different categories that we collect fees on, such as permits in the right-of-way, also banners, whatever you name, whatever work is being done in the right-of-way, most of them were coming up over 1,000% increase. Well, if you can imagine going out to the industry and say, hey, we're going to go from $100 to 400 to 4,000, they're going to chop my fingers off. So we actually went out and worked with the industries, and we actually will be bringing an ordinance to you to do a tier. So we're looking to do the fee increase over 3 years. So that's what we'll be bringing back to y'all after the budget so that we can actually get this kicked in. So 3 years increasing our fees. And this is allowing us to actually bring people on that we've been desperately needing on roadway inspections as well as right-of-way inspections. Also in Devin's group, which is our development, who's going out and do subdivision inspections and just folks doing inspection of new plans to make sure we catch everything and that we're tying in all of the correct up-to-date projects and programs as well. So we're looking at that basically overall for expenditure and transfer of $88 million. The revenue that we're looking to collect. So it's a hefty budget, but this is going to allow us to even provide better service for our community as a whole. Super excited about it. This is also allowing us to increase the number of folks, which we desperately need. And this is not related to Chime. This is simply out of our regular general fund budget. So just to kind of give you a quick glance at our budget mods that we actually do have. One is, of course, we're adding to the financial management side. Kristen is really, our financial management side has become very sophisticated. We're also jumping onto the new capital management system that we're going to be putting together, which is going to be another fantastic system to really help us understand how exactly we're spending money and doing it in a very timely manner. We're looking to add 2 folks to her group. This will also support Chime as well, which is really going to be important. On the human resource, we're adding some folks to Charles. You know, we have almost 500 employees if you include all our employees and plus the folks that we currently have that are contractors, but they will soon be full-time employees. Charles is actually a 4-person show, and that's pretty impressive when you have that they're doing that amount of work, plus they're doing everything to build in wellness with them, our department, you know, create these. I mean, we built a lap, Philip actually, you know, the engineers actually redesigned our parking lot. We put a lap in, so everybody's out there taking a lap when they need a break. And so we're really focused on people's wellness and health, as well as we're also focused on improvement skill sets so that we're helping our professionals grow. So we're going to be adding 2 more analysts, 2 to Charles Group so that we can continue to grow that and get folks that really want to help us be great public servants. We're also going to be adding money for overtime. There's a lot of overtime we spend on helping with special events, and we're just not going to get out of that. We are getting more and more events on a special event requests on a regular basis, so we do support that with the police department. So this is going to help us stay with that and control that. I talked about the banner. These new folks are actually being paid for with the fee increase. Traffic signal maintenance, this is raising 4 folks also. This is also being paid through the fee increase as well, but this is also going to be a really important role to bring these folks on with Chime as well, because we are looking to move forward and implement the signalization and the fiber in the front to have that benefit up in the front. So we're really going to need these folks. Right-of-way inspectors, we're looking to add 10. Again, this is in that same boat. This is where we're increasing the fee, so that fee's covering those individuals. And then, of course, we have the transportation management system where we're looking to add 2. This is also going to help us. This is going to be in the TMC. So right now, we have a grant, but that grant is starting to wane down. So we need to look at building staff up with permanent folks. So we're doing it over the period of time. So we're not doing it at the end when the grant is over. And then, of course, enforcement. And you know, the responsibility of the enforcement team has really grown. We really shouldn't call them enforcement. They're compliance inspectors, twos. And they do multiple things. They are not only doing the enforcement on the parking, but they're also doing enforcement of the right-of-way. They're doing abandoned vehicles. And they're also handling all the TLC requirements, sidewalk vending, you name it, that stuff that now the police do not have to focus on. Our team is focusing on, which frees the police up to do something else. And we're actually building up this team because we're just finding that they are being asked and pulled in many directions. So we need more help so that they're not feeling so stretched thin. And then, of course, we have the Choose How You Move budget mods, which are right before you. And mainly this is us building up the team so that we can be in there doing the engineering, getting all of the engagement we need to do, working with the mayor's office and the new programs officer and the staff there so that we can really move these projects forward and start showing our community what we can do. And we're super excited about it. So this is the request we made, including the FTEs that we've asked for. And then, of course, the last one is our special purpose fund, which is the parking. And this is reflecting where we're also adding another 5 years. So we're actually getting 10 new enforcements. Again, I like to call them compliance inspectors because they do multiple things. So this is allowing us to take these folks and really focus them in on the stuff that's outside of downtown, but parking related. But also we have these folks as well that are going to help us with parking. We're seeing more and more residential parking requests come forward for residential parking permit programs. And so we really want to build those programs well for our community, for both the businesses and the homeowners. We want to make sure that quality of life stays intact, but we want to make sure it's not at the expense of running a business. So this will be a really important role for them. And so looking to the future, NDOT, as I mentioned, had recently completed our fee study. And so we are restructuring our fee, and that'll be coming before you over a 3-year period. We also received our SMART grant, our phase 2 SMART grant to continue to make streets safer. We're super excited about that. The phase 1 is done, and I don't know if y'all have had a chance to get in see a presentation on the LiDAR system that we actually built out of the phase 1, but it's pretty impressive. And we were able to take it to the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. But this allows us to really understand what people are doing without seeing the people. They're like, I call them stick men and boxes for buses and and small boxes for cars. So we really get an understand of what people are doing in the different modes so that we can do better design. And we've actually had some success out of the phase 1 where we've gone back in and put hawks in, which are our high intensity crosswalks that are actually operated with the red. And we've actually installed one, and then traffic and parking improved on Monday for another one to be installed. And so we're seeing the benefits coming out of that. And that was through the phase 1, which we did on Clarksville. Phase 2 is going to be along Nolensville, so it can support our efforts through our Safe Streets for All grant. And then that way we're really actually designing and building to what's happening and what can, and get in front of this and be proactive. So we're super excited about that. Also, major intersections improvement that are coming up is Thompson and South Lake, Nolensville and Woodcrest, and Douglas and Ellington. And we're going to continue to really collaborate with the mayor's office, WeGo Transit, and Metro Planning as we implement Choose How You Move. And of course, I will share with you in the future, this coming year, we really have to focus on our bridge and our bridge maintenance because we have received inspections showing the bridge is in not such good shape. So you're going to see more of that probably in the capital spending plan as well. And there's always lots more. We're never, ever done. And so with that, we are here to answer any questions.
Thank you so very much, Director, and thank you for that very thorough presentation. I have just a few questions, and then I will turn it over to members of the body. And I'm seeing hands go up. If y'all could bear with me 1 second, I will
Making a mess.
get y'all. Okay. My first question, you mentioned a few times about fee increases. For the purposes of the viewing audience and for our council members, which fees are you referring to? You don't have to go through every fee, but can you just give us an idea of what types of fees you're talking about?
Yes, thank you, because it would be really tough for me to name every fee too. But for example, when someone comes in and they actually want a permit to do like a lane closure, there's a permit fee they have to pay. And there's money associated with that because a fee associated with that to cover our costs to make sure that if they're closing that lane, it's not affecting something else. So it could be a lane closure. It could be a permit fee for a special event. It could also be a permit to work within the right-of-way. So if somebody has to do something within the right-of-way, such as excavate for a plumbing of a hook out of a hook in for a new house, or even if it's someone getting a new gas line and they need to do a hook in, they have to get an excavation permit from us. And so these are the fees that have not been updated since 2003 that we're looking to actually increase.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to highlight that because we want to be mindful to not make the city more expensive to live in, but we also have to balance the cost that these things, that there is a cost for these services to the city. So we just, we want to make sure that we keep that balance. And I didn't want people hearing that to just be afraid, because what you're naming is things that most residents may not ever need to use. So I just didn't want to alarm the general public that something was going up for services that they may not ever use. So I just wanted to get that on the record.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman.
The next question was, it looks like, if I'm doing my math correctly, there may be about $8.8 million in requests that you all have requested that was not in the mayor's proposed budget. Does that sound about right to you?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you. So, and the answer was yes, it was. And I wanted to get that on the record because one thing that that we've heard from some constituents who have concerns about what the potential tax rate may be, one of the things that we keep hearing is like, our taxes are going up and all we're getting are bike lanes. And I think that's not a fair assessment. And, people, the sentiment is always like cut, and there's only so much cutting that you could do. And I just wanted it to be on the record that, this is not a situation where departments are getting every single thing that they wish. There are things that departments want and departments need to make our city run more smoothly, but we're not able to fund everything in every budget. So I just wanted to get that on the record for people who seem to think that all of the departments are getting, this pie in the sky and they're getting all the things that they want. That's just not an accurate statement. So I just wanted to get that on the record. And then my last question was, you talked about one of the positions, and forgive me, I missed the name of the position, but you said that it was more of an enforcement position that would be able to assist like MNPD. Was that a roadway incident response, or what was the name of that category?
It's under, we have it in both under special purpose fund as well as also in the GSD, and it actually says enforcement officers, but we call them inspectors. Yeah.
Let me ask that differently.
Yeah.
Was that funded, or do y'all need that funded?
We need that funding.
What was the cost for that?
Here, let me turn this over so that Kristen she's so accurate with the numbers.
Thank you.
It actually is included in the budget. Those 10 enforcement officers are included.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to the chair of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Chair Parker. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And thanks to the NDOT team for joining us here today. I want to say just in the news that Douglas and Ellington is imminent is very, very exciting for folks in East Nashville. So we have been hoping and wanting that for years. So that's very exciting to hear. About the budget stuff, so there's a few things that I noticed in the this fantastic new spreadsheet that we got that we've never had before that shows all the department requests and whether they're in the mayor's budget or not. It's extremely cool and helpful. So I understand a little bit better now about the banner installation crew. We're going to be, putting the fees more to where they're covering the work, and the customers who are paying those fees are probably going to see a better level of service with those installations and whatnot because we're bringing in the additional people. So thank you for explaining that. One thing I did see was that the traffic calming installation crew was not funded, and this is something that I've always liked to talk with departments about, and like the example you gave of where Mr. Jones folks were able to kind of get more bang for our buck with the Safe Schools program. I just wonder what would be the so the money that we're paying contractors to do this is somewhere in your budget today, correct? But you couldn't convert those funds into FTEs that are not authorized. But if you had the FTEs authorized with this funding and were for whatever reason unable to hire those positions, that funding could be used to pay contractors to do the work. Am I getting too clever here? I'm trying to figure out, is there a way that we can maybe move the needle on this, in sourcing that capacity, this budget?
Well, I will say Philip's team does jump in and help us quite a bit. So when we actually have a bunch of the traffic calming ready to go and it's not snowing or we don't have a crazy storm that comes through, Philip from time to time can pull a team out that can actually go out and do installations so that we stay on target. So I will say that he is doing that. I think with these 5 folks, he is actually, you are absolutely correct. We get a lot of requests for banners. We just can't meet the demand. This is going to allow us to meet that demand, but it's also going to allow us to use those gentlemen for some other things that Philip could probably get creative and maybe be able to offer a little bit more assistance. But I would say let us get in the rhythm of everything before I commit to anything. But he is really great with multitasking his team, cross-training his team, so that if he needs to pull from here to go do this, it gets done. So he's really got a great balance out there. So I'll let him speak more to it because he's doing a great job, and I have a truly 100% confidence in how he's operating his team. But I would just say it does take us a little bit of time just to get it all up and running. Philip, do you want to add anything to that? Okay. I just want to make sure I nailed it correct. Does that answer the question?
Sort of.
Sort of.
I guess more specifically, we're a lot of the traffic calming installations are still contracted out,
Yes,
even though we at times have our folks do them. So that money's coming from somewhere in your budget. And like, is that amount of money comparable to what we could do it in-house? Like, what would be?
So just real quickly, sir, just to remind you, the traffic calming is actually paid through the capital spending plan. So we pay through the contractor, we use a contractor. I recently did have the team do analysis to see how much we were actually spending on contractors to how much was actually being spent. Brad's so wonderful. I cannot read that. You read that. I'm going to let you speak to it. Hold on. I'm going to let him speak to this.
Okay.
Thank you, Brad.
Yes, thank you. Let me pull it up again, sorry. So looking at what we're spending now, yes, there is a significant savings that we could accomplish by actually bringing that in-house. We get around 15 million, or well,
No,
4 million a year, sorry. And we are actually spending around, this is for several years, actually 3 years. For the past 3 years, we actually have spent around, for actually the labor in there, around 4 million for the labor actually installing.
That's just installation? That's not the consultants that set up
That's
the
correct.
meetings and stuff?
That's correct. I have those numbers too.
All right.
So,
And
yeah.
5 FTEs was like 378 was the request. Okay.
But just remember that's in the capital spending versus this is not operating. So that's where the difference is.
It gets a little complicated.
Yes,
So
sir.
I imagine that'll be a working session topic of conversation. We can dive into a little more with finance folks. Okay, I don't want to take up too much time, but I also, the multimodal design and project management, those 5 FTEs that were requested were not funded in the mayor's budget. So I guess where are we at today with that team? And then what would those 5 FTEs allow y'all to do? And then how does this all intersect with Chime and specially funded employees from that function? If you can just tell us what's going on.
So Derek is actually, so we do have 11 folks that we're looking to bring on under Chime that's going to be able to really move a lot of those initiatives forward. And the multimodal was to do those quick, low-hanging things. So we would have an engineer on with a CAD drawer that would then actually be able to do sign and seals that we would then be able to get done, signed and sealed, and then hand off to Philip's team to actually go do, so that we're not having to send this out, do a task order, get a contractor on, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. This was going to allow us to expedite. So we still do this, but we do it through contractors. So this will just push us back a year, because we'll ask for it again next year. But we do think it would be able to be, we can do it a lot less expensive in-house. We can get a lot more done, and we can expedite stuff. But there's just only so much room, and the contractors are paid through the capital spending plan. So again, it's how do we move that over? And again, I think as the chairwoman had said, there's a lot of demand for the operating budget. So we have a program. We're not going to short sight this. We're just going to have to figure out how we can start moving some of this back in-house versus being through the capital spending plan. Yes, I think Brad wants to add something.
I was going to give one specific example, council member. So when we have a resurfacing project, for example, and we're looking to accomplish an upgrade of a biking facility on that project, we will bring in a consultant to prepare the designs for that. So this would allow us to do that in-house instead of having to bring a consultant in to do that work. We can actually get things done quicker and cheaper in the process. It's about building our bench up is really what it's about, building our expertise as far as doing design. We can do small designs. We not to say that we can't, but not in that at that scale that would very help out with the quick build type projects like that.
Thank you. Yeah, and so that question of kind of the interaction of capital and operating to this particular function is something that I'm very interested in understanding better, and I think I'll be probably talking with whoever from the department will talk with me about it, and finance folks as well. But that's, again, I could take up another hour, but there's lots of other people that have lots of other important questions, so thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Parker. Vice Chair Toombs, did you want to be recognized? Okay. Next on the list, this is the order that I have. So if someone else wants to be recognized, let me know. I have Councilmember Allen, followed by Councilmember Hoopin, followed by Councilmember Bradford, followed by Councilmember Ellis, followed by Councilmember Ewing. Was there anyone else that wants to be recognized? All right. Councilmember Spain, I'm going to bump him up to after Allen since he is on the budget committee. So we'll do Allen, then Spain, and then we'll go through the people not on the committee. Councilmember Allen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of questions. You mentioned the litter pickup. Who picks that up? Do y'all have employees that do that or work with the sheriff's department, or how does that work?
Well, we actually also have a contract that we use. We do it, contract, and we also do coordinate with the sheriff's office. So if there's an area that is really litter, but in last year, y'all gave us some dollars that allowed us to actually keep the contract, and that contract we actually renegotiated, so we were able to get more out of the contract, and that's why we're seeing more proactive than reactive.
That's great. People appreciate having things look good, so I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned bikeways, and you may have said how many we could expect maybe next year, how many miles might be coming?
No. Don't have that number, but I can get it for you. Okay. Because I would break that up because we have some that are in our capital spending plan, but we also have some in Chime. So if let me pull that together and bring that back to, send that over to the chairwoman to share out with everyone. But that would be actually 2 ways to provide that.
Great. Love the bikeways. Looking forward to Tour de Nash this weekend. And then a couple of questions about fees. Residential permit parking has been $10 forever. Was that included in the fee study, and does that cover the cost of administering that program?
It does not, and yes, it was, and we are going to be bringing that before you as well, but that will be coming under a different code structure. So we are working on that as well. We have do have some recommendations on it. When we actually did do the analysis and look at it, it took the $10 up to almost $500. Ooh. Yep, and in some areas, it took it up as much as $1,200, and that's not really doable.
Yeah.
So we have been working on some other ways to analyze it to get it to what we think would be a good structure. And again, it would be a recommendation today, and then maybe in another 3 years, another recommendation. So it's not such a heavy bump.
Yeah, I think it's
so. But we are going to be bringing that to you in the very near future.
Great. 2 more fee questions. Right now, the neighborhood block party fee is very affordable for neighbors. I mean, it's officially a lane closure fee. Does so, and my experience is that doesn't, other than me having to talk to the nice person on the phone who explains how I should do it every year, it hasn't been a big lift. Personnel-wise, will that one stay low and?
Yes.
Okay, great.
That one is not changing.
Not changing. Excellent. And then the final one, right-of-way closures used to be like $50 for a long time, and therefore we would end up with a dumpster in a major lane of traffic for months at a time. Is that one part
Going
of
up?
this district going up? Okay.
Yes,
I think that was good. Okay, excellent. And then one more question on the signal timing, which we're all very excited about. Is it possible we'll see a pilot at one intersection or on one street before everything gets rolled out, or does it all happen at once, or how does
It's
it work?
going to happen in phases. It's not going to all happen at one time. So we haven't quite put together what that schedule looks like, but we do need to put that together. We'll have to bring it before the Citizen Advisory Board for recommendations about how to make sure that the way we're recommending it is they're comfortable with. And then that is something that will be shared out with the council as well. So we're working on all that right now. But there is some work going on right now that we started on before Chime, putting fiber in the ground for the connection. So you are, like on Nolensville, you're going to see some folks out there working, and that they're putting fiber in. Some of it's over, some of it's under, but Chime's going to look the same way.
Gotcha. Okay, that's great. I just think that's one that's going to be an easy way to show people what they're paying that extra 5 cents, half a cent for. So
Yes, ma'am.
Sooner we get out there,
I will
better.
tell you, if you are in downtown, we did actually implement Connect Downtown with leading pedestrian intervals. And that's actually been, so far, I feel like, and Derek, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've gotten some really great outcome of that, of moving people safer that are on feet, being able to keep the traffic congestion moving better. And then we were testing also to consider flashing yellow lights to continue to move traffic. So we've had some big wins already through Connect Downtown and the downtown core.
Great. I'll pay more attention to that. That's great. I love the all skate barnyard dance, whatever you call it thing. And then final question was, there is the $5.8 million in parking revenue that you mentioned, which is great, especially that's being used for protected bike lanes. Have we kind of optimized that for what it takes to ensure that there are parking spaces available so that parking serves the function it's supposed to, and so that we're supporting the businesses that rely on that for their customers to be there, or is it, to me, it seems possible to get overshadowed by the excitement of making lots of money on it. And I don't want to, I get nervous every time I hear somebody say, I just don't go downtown anymore because I don't want to pay for parking. So did we study where that balance point is?
Yeah, we actually are. And we have a lot of conversation with our business community as well. And also, as we do plans, we talk about it because Connect Downtown is actually looking at removing parking. And we recognize, we shouldn't really do that because there's not a garage nearby. And so that's going to chase people away for that business. And that's why that short-term parking is so important to have on the street so the turns happen. And if someone's coming for a long term, we want them in the garage. And we're going to continue to work with the private companies to see if we can drive that price down, just so that we can attract people to coming back in, because really that's what's That's why they're not coming. It's not the on-street, it's the cost of the off-street. So we're going to continue to try to push that. We did a test for one of the Predator games where we offered for anyone coming down for a Predator game, if they showed their ticket, we had like 5 garages, they could show their ticket and they only paid $18. We had some really good success with that last year, so we definitely want to see about rolling that out. We did that in partnership with Downtown Nashville Partnership. So we want to continue seeing what kind of programs we can put into place like that.
Right. As well as the WeGo program. So
As well as the WeGo, yeah, always.
awesome. Thank you. All my questions. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Allen. Councilmember Spain, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Director. Sticking with the theme of the fees, you mentioned that several of these new FTEs will be paid for by the increase in the fees, but I thought I heard you say that the fee increase hasn't gone into effect yet and will be phased in over a period of years. So are we basically fronting those positions until the fee increases go into effect?
No, we are only asking for the positions that are covered by the cost of the fee increase. If I could, I would be asking for a lot more positions if I went straight to what the fee should be. So you'll see next year when we come in, you'll see another fee increase and you'll see an ask for additional positions. So we're asking the positions to match the fee so that we're staying within that.
Gotcha. Thank you. And then on the at a glance page, there's a line related to the USD GSD study implementation for $2.1 million. And the description says a transfer of 11 positions, but then it also says 26 FTEs. Which one of those is it? And whichever one it is, what are those positions?
I believe it's the 26 positions, and the majority of those are maintenance and repair worker, maintenance repair worker senior, equipment operator senior. Those positions will move to the GSD.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Spain. I'm going to ask a follow-up question from what Councilmember Spain asked, and I may be misunderstanding, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Are you saying, did I understand correctly that the council will have to vote on the fee increase, but we are funding positions based on the fee increase? So are you all funding positions based on something that we have not voted for? And if so, what happens if the council does not accept the fee increase?
Then we won't be able to hire the individuals. As the individuals, those particular ones are tied directly to the fee.
So it will still come before the council. The council will still determine whether or not we pass it. If we pass it, you're able to hire the positions that you need. If we don't pass it, then you just cannot hire the positions, and that money would then not be in the budget.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councilmember Evans, I'll add you to the list. Councilmember Coopin, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me even though I'm not on the committee. And thank you to the department for being here, and continued shout outs for the snowplow work earlier this year. I continue to hear resounding praise for that. Hopefully we keep that going, as I know we will. And I know Chair Parker said he could talk for an hour. I'll take the second hour. So just a couple random questions, and I kind of came in and out on some of the different conversations. So if you've already answered it, just say pass, and I'll go watch the video for that. We talked.
Pass.
So anyway, the second question is, Director Alarcon and I have a regular standing meeting, so we're just going to do it in front of all you guys. So we talked about the inspectors. I know you're talking about adding inspectors. That's something that obviously in this district we see quite a bit, where there's cars blocking roadways, construction vehicles on the road without traffic patterns. I know you're talking about hiring some additional folks. Can you talk a little bit more about how that's going to work and how and when we might see kind of an improvement where constituents aren't having to call it in, but it's kind of being proactively seen?
I'm going to turn this over to Brad.
Yeah, so these positions, actually 10 additional FTEs to fund inspection. So exactly what you're referring to. Right now currently we have 3 NDOT inspectors and 15 inspectors that we use with consultant services that we're leveraging now. This will allow us to go even further and push that farther as far as our response times, monitoring the system. Right now, we are currently operating around 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. in the evening, but we're always on call. We also have weekend hours that we run with our inspectors. As you know, it's a smaller staff, but this will allow us to beef up all around that. So this is a huge need for us, really.
As far as being on call, what hours are you on call till? Like if I've got an issue at 11 o'clock at night, is there somebody coming out for that, or is that waiting till the next morning?
That's a great question. depends on the urgency of the situation, and if it's a life safety issue that you're calling about, we will, I would say 24/7 means 24/7 when it's a life safety issue that we have to address. It depends on the circumstance. There's thousands of different, iterations that you could think of.
Totally. And then I know we talked about bringing in-house potentially some of the crews doing traffic calming. I know we've got certain amounts allocated. And I know we've got a backlog of maybe 400 streets. Ideally, you would do all of them, but how many more traffic calming projects would you wish to do every year? And again, I recognize that it's as many as you can, but is there a meaningful kind of break point of 25, 50, 75 where you see you're picking up a bigger majority of the ones that really need it?
I think that's maybe a different conversation and one a little bit more in depth, because we did just go through and have a conversation at Traffic and Infrastructure about maybe reshaping the traffic calming program. And so we really did look at that. So one of the concerns was if a street's put in, but we know another street's going to be affected, can we look at that at the same time? We haven't been doing that, but we are committing in the new way of moving forward in the traffic calming program that we will look more holistically. So if you think about it in that context, we will be doing more, but sometimes we still only have so much money to get it done in. So I would just say at some point, we're either going to say, you have to give us more money, otherwise we're going to do less. And especially in this new program that we actually will be bringing back before, based on all the comments and suggestions and the way we're going to move forward, we'll be bringing back before Traffic and Infrastructure and give an idea of what we think we can handle. But if we're always given more money, we can always do more. And if we want to also do more but not with money, then we need to talk about how we can put more in the operating budget so we can do more internally. And so that's kind of how it needs to shake out.
Thank you. Would like to ask about our newest Nashvilleian Trashly. I know there's a campaign that's going on to prevent littering or to encourage not littering. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy seeing those ads, but would be curious to hear how that's going, feedback you're hearing, what we're seeing impact-wise. I'm seeing some smiles back there. So,
yeah, I'm going to turn that over to Courtney.
It's my Halloween costume, by the way.
Program.
Of communications here at NDOT. We launched Trashly out into the world. It feels like a lifetime ago, but I'm pretty sure it was about 2 months ago. We had a great event in Antioch in Councilmember Ellis's district with Mayor O'Connell and lots of volunteers cleaning up the community. The campaign's going really well. You're going to start seeing Trashly slowly kind of roll out across the city, billboards, digital campaign. The feedback's been pretty good. Everybody has an opinion. Some people love to hate Trashly, some people love Trashly, and some people straight up hate Trashly. And that's okay, because in this instance, this is truly a situation where if we're raising attention to the issue of littering in the city, then that is always a good conversation to have. And I have had many people bring Trashly up to me unprompted and say, you know what? For the first time, I finally kind of took notice of this issue. So that is what we want to hear, and that's what we want to accomplish.
Great, thank you. Quick follow-up on that.
One quick statement, council member. Thank you so much. If we can keep our questions to the budget, because we are over time, it is after 6 o'clock. So for going forward, if you can get that follow-up offline, if you don't mind, council member, and if we can limit everyone to 2 questions going forward, and the questions need to be germane to the budget, please.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate that. Maybe I didn't frame correctly, but I was kind of getting at the money spent on the campaign and how that return would be. And I guess we can follow up offline, but would be curious if, again, keeping it in the budget lane, but if there are dollars available to do that for like pedestrian safety and other things that we're working on.
You can ask that question.
Oh, can I ask that question?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to keep it in the lane.
That's
Is there dollars available for a campaign for pedestrian safety? We see lots of folks downtown just kind of get in the road and put themselves in danger, and so want to make sure that we're educating around that.
Yeah, so we have 3 kind of major marketing efforts at NDOT. One is the Trashly campaign to raise awareness around litter prevention in the city. The other is our Vision Zero marketing and education campaign. So you might see billboards popping up around the city, encouraging people to slow it down, pay attention, We have a digital campaign that goes alongside that as well. We've also been up on TV. It feels like pretty relentlessly for the past year with public service announcements. We're going to be rolling out a new campaign in the coming months. It is going to be centered on drive like your grandmother is watching you from the back seat. Drive like your kids are paying attention. Pay attention to pedestrians. Look for pedestrians. But there's all kinds of secondary messaging that goes along with that related to, pedestrian safety, bicycle safety, accessing transit. And so if you have any ideas or anything you want to pitch to us, we are all ears. But the third marketing campaign I'll mention is our Nashville Connector campaign, which is a little bit of a hybrid planning effort and marketing effort, but that's always raising attention to issues of pedestrian and bicycle safety in the city. And I will plug tomorrow is Bike to Work Day. We'll be set up down at Riverfront Station. Sorry, Chair Porterfield, for going off
Thank
topic.
you.
And you can spend some dollars to get down to Bike to Work Day. That's in the budget. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Bradford. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Luckily, a couple of my questions were already asked and answered, so that makes it easier for me to find my two. First of all, like I've been asking everybody, there's $798,000 of savings being returned in this budget that you had to cut from this year. What would be the impact if that money was not put back in your budget for next year?
We used took the savings last year predominantly from our marketing budget. We tried not to impact salaries if at all possible, but we would like to have that back. As Courtney mentioned, we have several initiatives, that we are trying to roll out. So having those savings returned to us would be very helpful.
Okay, thank you for that. The special events, as we're talking about the fee structure and, you're proactively budgeting $300,000 for overtime, specifically, as you stated, to help with special events. Are you looking into the cost of of any related fees or permits to these special events, raising those fee structures so that that itself covers the overtime and that it's not the taxpayers?
Yes, sir. We are, and some of the fee will be covered but not all of it. Because if you remember, we're stair-stepping this. And so that's why we have to ask for the additional dollars because we're doing a lot more special events than we've ever done. We're assisting a lot with the downtown events that are going on. And so as we stair step, we imagine that we'll be able to drop that because we'll add the people and we won't need the overtime. But right now I put the priority on adding the inspectors and adding the banner folks. But as we stair step up and we can add more people, I think we'll be able to smooth everything out.
Is there a possibility, since a lot of these events are downtown and are tourist type events, that we could get additional monies from the Music City Center and those tourism dollars to help cover, like they've done in the past for MMPD over time?
Go ahead.
This request actually is to replace that. The convention center has indicated that they will not be funding that this year, so we've asked for it to be added to our budget.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Just one last for the marketing and for education. Just want to put out there, like the times I've been downtown the last couple of years, I've seen an increase in the individuals who are using scooters on sidewalks, not streets. So perhaps that should be something that's kind of thought about as we're talking about education and marketing, to remind the scooter operators and to remind folks that they're supposed to be on the streets, not on the sidewalks.
Thank you, Councilmember Bradford. Next in queue, we have Councilmember Ellis. You're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And I would just say, Director Alicorn, you showing up with your senior staff is a vibe, as the kids would say. So thank you all for showing up. And my 6 and 4-year-old nieces still talk about Trashly, and anytime anyone cracks a window, they are shamed. But I have a question. Absolutely. I have a question about brush collection. So the fiscal year 25, one of the performance metrics was reducing the number of missed brush collections. And I have a lot of people in my district right now that are upset that the brush collection has not came to them yet. and which were scheduled June the 1st. But I just wanted to see if that was a metric that you all were still measuring.
Yes, ma'am. It most certainly is. Unfortunately, with some of the storms that have come through, it was not covered by FEMA. So to add another route or add a route in that would go around and pick up the county is roughly over $1 million. And FEMA, we were brought up, and we did ask, and we thought about it, and we wanted to do it because we got this request from pretty much every single district, and we wanted to try to meet that. So all Philip is trying to do is push along the brush picks ups a little bit quicker so that he can get out there faster and pick up. But we just didn't get the funding in place to be able to go out and do an extra brush pickup with the latest of the windstorms. But his team's out there doing them, and they're trying to push through it quicker so they can get to everybody quicker. So we do apologize, but we are out there.
Thank you, Councilmember Ellis. The next question is Councilmember Ewing.
Thank you, Chair. So I know I'm last in line, so I'll be very quick.
Is no one behind you?
Oh, okay. Questions, most of my questions were asked and answered. So I just wanted to dig in a tiny bit to some of the items that you had on the budget that were not put in the mayor's budget, specifically the items where you say that additional FTEs would lead to cost savings from not hiring consultants. So I guess, for example, for the sidewalk and bikeway program to transition away from consultants to staff, and you have 12 FTEs in there, I think. The question I had was, would this be sort of a one-for-one trade, or do you, if that were to be in the budget, do you foresee the savings accruing over time? Or would it be an instant, like taking that $1 million or $500,000 from your consultant line item and boom, we're done?
I'm sorry, I turned it on. It would be over a period of time. And again, a lot of our consultants are paid through the capital spending plan. So as we would be able to add to our operating budget and do it in-house, which we feel like, again, we can do it cheaper and faster, we would be able to deliver that. We would reduce it on the capital spending plan side, which would allow us to put dollars toward more projects.
Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Evans, you're recognized.
Thank you. You scared me with your telling everybody, make it on the budget. So I'm trying to be as budget focused as possible.
I hope I wasn't that intense.
No, on the traffic calming with, as you were talking earlier about like scaling, using, like the striping and everything for the school zones. I was a beneficiary. Residents appreciated that very much. On the traffic calming, have we gotten to that point from a cost perspective that is a process that can be replicated and scaled internally as opposed to using outside vendors? Would there potentially be any cost around that, cost savings around that?
Excuse me, we would actually need to add staff to reflect that cost savings. But if we were to bring the whole program internally and get the staff, yes, there would be cost savings. But again, that cost saving would be reflected in our capital spending plan that we would be able to put toward projects to get more done.
Thank you so very much. Did anyone have any other questions? Because I do want to make sure that everyone gets their questions asked and answered. So did anyone have any other questions that they wanted to lift up? All right, seeing none, thank you all so much for your service to our city and for this presentation. And with that, we are ending our hearings for today.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.